Good day to you. Today I want to begin a talk on the consequences of COVID on the child and the family. So I hope this would be a sit down for family to listen to. In our time in Sri Lanka it is 3:15 in the evening. Even in a night watch party, I hope the whole family can listen together. Now, what is COVID doing to the stereotypes of family relationships that are there? So let me itemize the stereotypes, how they come through. Is we have 7 functional brain tracts, and the first one deals with empathic, intuitive nature that begins in the mother's womb. So mother bonding with the child is very important. Even in the mother's womb, the child is connected to the mother and is absorbing much from the mother's responses. And of course, the father is recognized through how mother feels. Empathic, intuitive child will be good in his understanding about his own well-being, and that he knows he is important. So the character types that come are the avoiders, the pleasers. Now remember, how you grow up is how you are grown up. So what you begin as a child, you continue as an adult. So the avoider is the child who did not get affirmation, commendation. He got all the time depreciation. So if the father is the bullying type, aggressive, he doesn't get on to taking on responsibility. So in the first 3 years, mom gives the child the social connections and the intimacy, the bonding the child needs. That's mom's business. If mom was not there, mom was harsh, mom didn't connect in the womb and soon after, a child does not know that inside happiness connection. So mother provides for later social connections also, because she is the one who introduces the child to others around, including to the dad. Then after the first 3 years, in the first 3 years also dad is important to give child specific commands what he can do. As you know, not many commands that the child can do other than regarding food and proper use of what he has to use during the first 3 years of life. Father has to get involved. But after the first 3 years of life, it is the father who always sets the boundary, sets the next step, sets the next stretch, gives the child confidence, competence, and calibration and celebration. And if I may add another C, certification. So competence, confidence, calibration. That is to say, you give the child measured things, and when he does it well, you say, well done. But you have to give him measured things. It's not a test, but an achievement. Then you celebrate. Of course, father's celebration is very important for the child's confidence building. So, and then the certification is the affirmation, to put it in another way. You did it well, and then the correction. I must add that C also. Correction also comes to father's plate, if I may say so. Now, why is it all accentuated during a COVID time? Lots of children are on Zoom, on the screen to while away time. Social interactions at school is now shut down, and social interactions even otherwise is at a minimum. So home has to become a good habitus. So if I am to give a title for this talk, I would like to call it how to make home good habitus, knowing each other's personality development needed in this time. So this is how I hope to take this thing. And new research has also said one drastic, drastic bad effect or side effect of COVID is that women have got more stress to do their homework and keep home fires burning. home chores going, and sometimes hold a job also. And then those who have been unhappy in their relationship, or younger girls, they have been sexualizing themselves overmuch, as if we have subscribed to survival of the fittest world, and then on Instagram and on other social media, sexual promiscuity and looking for other partners have accentuated. And this has caused, this has brought out already existing instabilities in relationships in a drastically bad way. You have to be cognizant of that, and you have to advise your daughter. I don't know how it happens, not that I don't know, how it happens that it is the daughter and the woman who gets most exposed in war, crisis, times of need and oppression. We know they are more vulnerable. These are all scenario playing out. If you know the story of the Garden of Eden, a woman got the bad side of the story, so to say. So this plays out again and again in crisis time. So how is your child developing, and what is the nature you are showing up during COVID time? So children who have not been affirmed, they become avoiders. And for avoiders at this time, it's a difficult time, because you get nowhere by avoiding. Then it also means that in relationships, you have to recognize the child's avoiding nature and realize that some more scolding will not the child any better. When you see a child having an avoiding nature, you have to take some steps to make it better for him. So recognize if the child is not doing things, dodgy, more shouting, more commandments will not make the child any better. It's a survival mode he is getting used to, because he has faced a weak child or a normal child even during this time. They felt more stress coming on with Zoom, having to keep up. Zoom is not the best way to study, and the pressures of the time, the pressures that parents feel for economy or just to keep safe, when COVID is around, all that has weighed heavily on the child who is already in an avoidance mode of non-performance, can't make the great kind of thing which the parents have made the child to feel. Now I'm thinking about the child under the age of 13. After the age of 13, the child begins to give back as much as he got, putting in another way, what you sow, you reap. So the child after the 13 is a product of the child you raised up before 13, including screen access. So I'm Dr.lalith Mendis. My last post was as Head of Department of Pharmacology in a state medical faculty. If you need any of my former clips, this is my 91st one. My clips are divided between spiritual, then digital science, COVID science, science and reason. Some might call them happy hour, which were family talks. So this will probably go as a happy hour talk. So remember the first personality, the avoidance personality. Are you like that? Are you mom or are you dad? So what's happening when you're avoiding? You're not growing. Someone else has to pick up the slack, and then that someone may not be the best at it. So home goes into survival mode, survival of the fittest mode, struggle for existence mode, blame transfer mode. Then we come to the child who's the pleaser. This is a kinesthetic child. So let me first describe the 7 brain tracks. Executive, empathic, intuitive track, where you try to understand yourself, your relational insight, the track that does with your relational insight. Empathic, intuitive. Some children are very strong by themselves. They don't even want to talk to the sibling very much. They are behind a book. So don't harass them about it, because that's their strength. That's how they build their inside up. Now get them to be more relational in attractive ways, but not by commanding, not by shouting. Don't say, why are you hiding yourself behind a book all the time? Why are you never coming to family things and you're always in a corner? Don't say things like that. Encourage them with attractive things to become a family player. That's your business, dad and mom, of course. Dad must take any mistake management, any course correction, dad must take the forefront. I have told this before, mistake management is the best time to invest in them. When they are not up to the mark, that's the best time to invest, get into their life. That's the principle of the Good Shepherd and the cross. When we go wrong, he contributes maximally. Dad, that's you Good Shepherd, interact and input when course correction is necessary. It is your best investment time. You will assuredly have good dividends. So empathic, intuitive child. Empathic, relational child, his world is outside, is always with relationships. So if you don't have time to give that child doesn't grow at all. And that child is a pleaser. So the second kind of child is the pleaser child. And now check yourself in your own personality. Are you the avoidance partner or are you the pleaser partner? Now you must not take undue advantage of these are innate kind pleasers, want to put their loved ones, their spouse or children before themselves, to the point where they will sacrifice their own needs or dreams if it means making others happy. So don't take undue advantage. It's great to have a child who's a pleaser, and remember those children need appreciation, and already they have got appreciation. That's why they are pleasing. Now also you have to watch the flip one. If you are hard to please father, child goes overboard on pleasing. Children don't have to please us. They only have to be children. So take care of this. Why am I doing this talk? I have done a lot of scientific talks, but I am doing this talk because there are huge pressures coming up and parents are asking to see me with their children, with their grown-up children, because COVID times are difficult times for everybody. And then I also want to get on to this. So the pleaser child and this empathic relational track that works. Be mindful of this child. That child needs a space and relationship, likes to play and dance. You should be there for that. That child is a precious child in the house. Then we have the next one, the linguistic track, and that linguistic track is our language ability. Some are very they talk little. Don't push them, but increase their vocabulary. If they would write always while doing Zoom, get them to write notes. Not only their brain memory recall, all that increases, they also become better at recall and memory, and also they closed door. Digitizing effect is much less when they write what they are studying from the Zoom screen. Let them always write, encourage them to do that. Digitization is also less, language also increases, and memory improves when they keep writing. So I hope already you have checked out on my 5 laws of the digital screen. 1, never digital screen before the age of 3, never. Language will scramble, please. 2, that's American Pediatric Association. 2, never digital screen while eating, because feeding time is the brain brilliant time. Do read to the child, sing songs with the child, teach the child good manners during the feeding time. 3, never digital screen after 6 o'clock, because after 6 p.m. brain is getting ready for brain brilliant function and sleep, which is very important. 4th one, never give a child the digital screen longer than 25 minutes when they are into fast activity like cartoons and digital games. Now, of course, with Zoom, Zoom studies, children are long on the digital screen. Some schools give a break every 30 minutes, which is what I have recommended. A break after every 30 minutes, and then you have to ensure that they don't get onto games in their break time. Someone has to supervise the Zoom screen. It is nice to have grandparents nearby if they can supervise the Zoom screen. So these are some of the things and then reduce the LED light. in your house because the LED blue screen adds to the effect of the pixel screen. So that is about the linguistic track. The fourth track a child develops is the management planning track. That's why from younger days you must give the child building blocks and so on, mechanism, rather than looking at the screen. Moment you look at the screen, screen commands the child. That's not how it should be. Child must think and work through. That's the planning track. Then we come to the other three tracks, which are the expressive tracks, the kinesthetic tracks. So the child who wants to please is a kinesthetic child who wants to do nice things for others. So the first child is the avoidance child. Now remember, what you were a child, you grow up into. So you will know whether you are the avoidance personality. It is better for your spouse to know that you tend to avoid. And then the spouse has to not bribe you, but show you why you should not be allowed to be the avoidance child. So I'm hoping this will be a family talk where parents sit down together with the children. I'll make it as family friendly as possible because COVID times have brought unusual pressure, and I get many calls to our Colombo Empathic Learning Center parents asking to see me because of the exigencies of COVID time. So I thought I will just go through these things. So avoidance child, the child who's a pleaser, or the spouse who's a pleaser, don't exploit them. They're already doing all they can. So if your spouse is a pleaser, take care that you do your share. That's important. Then I told you that a child may resort to pleasing if the child feels a threat. So if you play ugly ducklings with the child, you got 2 daughters and the third one you expected was a boy but turned out to be a daughter, and you know how it happens, especially in Asian cultures. It's a good thing to have children, but sometimes we do have our not so nice ways of dealing with children. So I'm doing this in the background of new research about how the COVID thing is playing out. I told you it's bringing a lot of pressure on the lady and also on the girl child. Somehow a survival of the fittest, struggle for existence mentality has come to the fore in COVID. Governments are scrambling to do what, and then when fake science advises governments, there's more trouble. So because of this, somehow girls are getting on screen sexualizing themselves, adults as well as younger. Somehow an instinct of to grab the best we can because time is short or time is risky or meeting time is limited. So you tend to meet on unequal terms, and so sadly it's always the girl child that feels the pressure of having to grab something good enough for me. Be mindful, parents, if you have a girl child, and if girl children are listening to this, you have to be mindful of that. This is a period set up with that kind of trap. Then the third, so I have told you the expressive tracks are the kinesthetic track. The kinesthetic child, the child with kinesthesia easily moves to dance, drama, activity, play. Unfortunately, if you put the kinesthetic child on the screen, his or her kinesthesia gets overdriven. Pixel kinesthesia is no good kinesthesia. That's why in our Colombo Empathic Learning Center, we have done a den and dare 3,600 square feet where there's grips and ropes. I call it GARTS, grips and ropes thrill sport, GARTS, GARTS, little like darts. So it's a gymnasium with calisthenics, and kids are meant to come and do grips and ropes. When they do grips and ropes, you understand, lower rope, mid rope, high rope. High rope, of course, you need harness and helmet, which we have. So that's part of the empathic motor therapy, which is my innovation. I presented the seminar to SLMA last year, 2019 July, on handling the digitized child with empathic motor therapy, which is our innovation, and empathic learning therapy, which was founded by Dr. Daniel Amen. Yes. So that's a bit of the thing about the kinesthesia, why you should not put the kinesthetic child on the screen. Kinesthesia gets driven in the wrong direction. So without any planning and without having their planning track, which is initiation, navigation, successful and conclusion, and reward, well done. Who should say the reward well done? You yourself, child herself, himself, from inside. So the initiation, navigation, successful and conclusion is salience, work to the point, dopamine driven or dopamine directed, and then serotonin works to check back, look back and say, that was good, that wasn't so good, I need to improve. So serotonin always speaks for improvement. So this is called the default mode network of thought. So kinesthesia must not be overdriven that this gets disrupted. You have to take care that every 45 minutes your child initiates something, and then every 1 hour, then 45 minutes he or she is doing it, next 15 minutes they are adjusting it and looking how good it was, improve, and the next 1 hour. Now it doesn't have to be studies, it can be intermingled with sports, gardening, music, doing drama, doing mock play, whatever. So you know what I mean. Keep the 1 hour of the child. Don't allow them to be on the screen all the time. Keep the 1 hour and conclude the 1 hour with satisfaction. That is so important. And then begin the next one. If you also do this, keep your every hour, you will not get Alzheimer. I have told this before. If you write in 2 languages, 4 A4 papers, you will not get Alzheimer. Music is good, but you must sing along. If you can play along, that's wonderful. You must look at the lyrics and sing to get the benefit of music. Get the brain benefit of music. Looking at the lyrics and singing is very good. Singing from your memory is also okay, but looking at lyrics has its own brain play. So this is for the whole family, same for children. I just gave you, so you keep a timetable. It doesn't have to be a strict timetable, it should be a fun timetable. For mom, dad, for son, daughter, even for grandparents, some activity. And if you have a bit of green turf, bit of Gewatu Wagawa and home gardening, how wonderful that would be. Yes, so we have done the empathic intuitive track, empathic relational track. Now realize that all these things form the child's personality. The linguistic track. Now, some children are very economical with words, others are jabberers, they like poetry and so on, so understand your child. Then the management track, initiation, navigation and conclusion, good reward. All this is the prefrontal cortex, executive empathic thinking. That's how we should go. Then the kinesthetic track, the acoustic track and the visual track. Now what happens with the digital screen is, digital screen drives the kinesthetic, acoustic and the visual to the detriment of the empathic, intuitive, empathic, relational, linguistic and management tracks. So that's in a nutshell. But you understand why the screen should not be given ad lib. Now I want to return to the character types that are popping up, that were always there, but how they will react in COVID time. So first one was the avoidance personality. Second one was the pleaser personality with kids. Third one is the controller. Now he's a born leader, the choleric kind, Apostle Paul kind, you know, born leader, but he wants to do everything his way. And if you put this child on the screen, it will be a great injury to the child. So you must understand the controller, the real why I want it my way, and he says so to the sibling, it might be a she. Same with the partner. They want to be in charge. Now the thing is this, the world needs them in the ratio of 1:7 is a leader. But for a leader to be leader, there has to be followers also. And in their formative years, they must do some following. So this is a very good time to put your kids on home chores, please. They must cut the onion, cut the fruit, you know. I was hoping to do a little about kids' diet at this time. I hope I'll remember this before I finish it. Yes, I'll add a little about kids' diet. Let me add a few more at this time. Never give the screen when the child is eating. Not home television, not iPad, not smartphone, because feeding time is the brain brilliant time. It's the best time to teach morals, prayers, character, family, good values, good habits. Please don't barter it away by just giving the screen time. I think it's child abuse. I'm very strong on this. I am published on this. I have done research and academic things as well as popular talks on Rupawahini and other televisions. Please don't give the child the screen during feed time. It's the best brain brilliant time. Teach the fellow things he will remember for long. The flip side is whatever he does at feed time, he will remember. So do the best practices as feed time. Insist on eating fruit and vegetable. They add to immunity. They reduce the digitization. Pineapple has bromelain, which is very good for immunity. Okay, and then pear, guava has flavonoids. That is very good for pear has a thing called quercetin, quercetin. Then orange has flavonoids, so that white part of the orange, when you are doing an orange crush, orange drink, remove the top part and keep the white part as much as possible without making it bitter. So flavonoids, bromelain, quercetin, all in fruit and vegetable. So this is the time to insist that they must have fruit and vegetable. The digitized child will, they will say, I hate vegetable, I hate fruit. Get them out of it. Now please kids, when you are watching this screen time, this little message, this little talk from me, I'm Dr.lalith Mendis. My last official post was as head of Department of Pharmacology in a state medical faculty, and the digital screen and its consequences are my speciality. So this is a little about the food stuff. Then it's good to have vitamin D. Even kids may not be that exposed to sunlight, and those who are diabetic over the age of 60 definitely must have vitamin D supplements. Daily supplement is 500 international units a day, so usual tablets are 1000, so take every other day. Take something, either zinc or a zinc containing vitamin every other day, because zinc and vitamin D, new studies say, can heal COVID. 2. Zinc and vitamin D can prevent COVID. That is done and dusted. That is true. Thank God our hospitals use hydroxychloroquine for treatment of COVID. It is effective. Contrary to what some reports have tried to say, hydroxychloroquine is effective for the treatment of COVID. In India, hydroxychloroquine has been extensively used for prophylaxis because the Indian Council of Medical Research is very thorough, very scientific, and their government listens to the Indian Council of Medical Research. We need an equivalent of that in Sri Lanka. So they gave hydroxychloroquine as prophylaxis for 40,000 health workers. If you want any clips of this, you can send me a WhatsApp message to +94 77 49 59 214. You can also go on my timeline FB or to my blog, drlalithmendisblog.wordpress.com. Many of these details are there. A little more about kids and their diet. Yes, have their regular meals. Don't allow them to snack. And many snack junky food has stimulants that drive them on the screen more and more. Avoid red dyed drinks with red color, popsicles and ice creamy stuff with red color. In COVID time, it's good to keep your sugar low. In COVID time, it's good to not drink ice drinks. Yes. I'm not so much into telling about the good weather come for COVID, but tea can help. Lots of plain hot tea. There are various clips circulating. There's one research actually that showed that steam inhalation reduces influenza contacting. So that is scientific. So steam inhalation 3-4 times a day may help in COVID prevention. Is possible because proper research did that to show that steam inhalation prevents influenza contacting. Then ladies' hair dryers can be used for this hot air draft, but you have to be very careful. Some people have suggested tea bags in the hot tea for inhalation with theophylline, and that kind of thing may be helpful. So those are simple things that's part of our daily routine, also not the inhalation but the tea drinking. So let it be. Have I got to say a few things about kids and their diet? Yes. When kids are on the screen, they go to the amygdala driven bottom up regulation. I have spoken to this on this at length. So that is top down, that is bottom up regulation. Whatever comes their way stimulates them because they are already used to the screen. They are not playing the screen is playing them. I'll repeat it. They are not playing the screen is playing them. So that is bottom up regulation, stimuli that come from outside. What you do, conceptualize, hitamata, that's the best thing. You conceptualize, executive, empathic, conceptualize thinking, initiate, navigate, successful in conclusion and reward. That's the way the child will do better. So when the child is on this bottom-up regulation, he's into thrill and peril, he's into fight, fright and flight, and his corticoadrenal axis, that is the cortisol, adrenaline, stress thing, balla matabai, mama balla tabai, that thing of when you are faced with danger. So they are all the time on the danger track, which means they are all the time cortisol high. Then their fat begins to distribute in a way their trunk gets obese and they even get fatty liver. They can get abdominal migraine because of abnormal serotonin. Because of what? Too much screen. They complain of abdominal pain. They of course can get classical migraine because migraine is based on serotonin. Yes. My first research as primary author when I was in the Colombo Professor of Medicine Register was on irritable bowel syndrome and this migraine connection which has to do with serotonin. So little fellows too much on the screen can complain of abdominal migraine as well as classical migraine, and their dietetic patterns can change and they can have a fatty liver. So when they are getting obese, realize that the screen is doing it to them. It is not merely the sedentary thing which contributes to it, it is also the fact that their metabolism is driven wrong. So they must sleep at the right time. After 6 p.m., intense digital activity is very bad for their sleep. Sleep is so essential for our health. Our chromaffin system, our chronobiological rhythm is dependent on our sleep. So when I say digital activity, the injurious ones are the fast games and the constant surfing, the multitasking, shifting between social media and fast cartoons, and as much as possible after 6 p.m. good to use a common laptop or a desktop which doesn't have a smart screen. Of course now smart screens come with a nighttime switch. However, kids must not get onto it. They must get sleep ready well enough and somehow don't cajole them, don't command them, somehow speak to them, reason it out with them not to get on the screen. And if you can have a family law that nobody goes to the bedroom with the smart gadget. How did you like that, Dad? No, what is the family law? Nobody goes to the bedroom with a smart gadget. Bedroom is for bedroom. Sleep time, family time. So I have always said 7 p.m. is happy time, family time, harvest time. Why do I call it harvest time? What you sow to your child at 7 p.m. will last with him till 7 a.m. If you can get 2 hours, 7 to 9, with your family, you'll be a great dad and great mom, and that's the best, longest lasting career in your life. Corporate can hire and fire you, your family can't hire and fire you. Please listen to this. 7 to 9 p.m. I have seen more than 600 families with digital problems. That's why I'm pleading with you. 7 p.m. Take that time. Take that time to give your family. It's worth it. Of course, child is not only brain, child is spirit. That's the child's best content. I call it God's scope. You may be working with God or without God, but I work with God. I call it God's scope. What the child knows intuitively, the best he has. Then the child has his heart, and then that is his desires and ambitions, likes and dislikes. Then child has his umpire, the conscience. Conscience is the umpire, provided you don't do some match fixing with your conscience. In Sinhala there is an excellent saying which says kanna hitunama kabara goyat thala goya wenawa. I have adapted it for modern times. Kanna hitunama kabara goyat thora mal wenawa. That's a Sinhala proverb. I believe Sinhala proverbs are very expressive. When you feel like eating, the proverb says the alligator becomes like seafish. Actually the origin is iguana. So even a child has a conscience. Let the child develop that. That's God's umpire in your life. Then of course beyond that we have emotions, and then we have the big cognitive facility upstairs here, where doctors play with drugs and so on. But that's all. That's the 5-tier system, and here is the last bit of it. It's very important, but it's not the only thing. So getting back to kids and the digital screen and their personality. So I have already, and vis-a-vis your personality, avoidance personality, pleaser personality. We were at the controller personality. He's a born leader. Please don't put him on the screen. He will learn control wrong way. Where they have a mentality, they want to be kingmaker even in family decisions, and their way is right. The screen pushes children for survival of the fittest, because that's the philosophy of the screen, of the digital games, the violence and all that included. So you have to please heed this. That controller has to be kept in check. It's a great asset if you can lead as a benefactor, but it's a terrible thing when you become a malefactor. The people who became malefactors, like Hitler, are people who are very popular leaders at the beginning, correct? People chose them. People gave them power. Every terrorist leader, including Pol Pot, was popular at one time. People thought he's the solution, and he became the worst problem of their race. Agreed? Agreed? Yes. So that's the controller. So keep a check on your child. And sometime back there was a Harvard study saying, give them home chores, teach humility. They need it. I will do 8 characteristics for the child if I can, once I finish the seven personality types. So you understood the controller. They can take charge. They are needed. They are born leaders, but they need temperance. You can't give them, you can't allow them to have all the way, isn't it? Then you have the amygdala child or the warrior child. That child worries, that child loves, that child is quiet. You must not push that child. You can't scold that child at all. You have to give that child is over worried, often dreamy. Now those days they were called right brain children. They are into fashion, they are into a bit of music, they are dreamy, they are good at art, and in art they see things, you understand? That's a warrior child. You might call it the amygdala child. You must keep close contact with that child. That child must not be left alone in their thoughts. You have to fashion their thoughts. What I do with my granddaughter is get her to draw a picture every day, and I give her thoughts, she gives her thoughts. You have to have discussion with that child, you understand? The warrior or they are mercy people, because they are concerned for others. You must take their concern, discuss mercy. They like to give to beggars, so take them to a little orphanage or something, and for the birthday, you know what I mean. They are warrior, amygdala child. They remember events long past you remember. However, they can be solid in a crisis. They worry for necessary things, unnecessary things. They worry about the future. They worry from the past. You also may be like that. So remember, child at 13 is the adult at 33. Child at 13 is the adult at 33. 8 to 13, please attend on your child. That's your best career dad. That's your best career mom. Corporates will wax and wane, but your children with you will remain. I adapted an old hymn for that. Please be with your child. So this is the warrior child. Don't let the controller harass that child. Make space for the child. When you have to raise your voice, raise it a little, but go near the child and do it. Keep their dignity intact. I'm talking about the controller. You know, he's a commander, so he must be mellowed with home chores. He has to be. You have to get him to do humble things. Otherwise, he's too much of a master of everything. Yeah. Then the warrior child. Surprisingly, she is solid in a crisis because they function well. They can consider different things, you know. So if your partner is a warrior, they need security. Don't poo-poo them. Consider their worry. When a child is worried or your spouse is worried, give space for that. Take some time on it. Life is not all the time made on triumph and success. Some of our deepest life experience, the things that made us faithful to each other, happen in defeat. We can't live in a bombastic, pugilistic, belligerent, winner wins all world. God did not create a world like that. He created a world of equality, chances, successes, ups and downs. In it all we learn family. In it all we learn trust and fidelity. Those are the qualities that should be running the world, at least your home world, your home globe here. Then you get the child who likes to play sheet anchor. Develop that child, very reliable. He's generally a mechanic, and very young he wants to make things, making expert, and give him little training on the screwdriver and the set of pliers. I don't know whether girls will take to screwdriver and set of pliers. Bake some cake. They like to make the list for the family. You understand, the anchor child. They are open to discussion. They like to take on things and do so within parameters. Help them. They understand the other side of an argument. So they are great people to have around. Develop that character in your child to be sheet anchor. Of course, you are developing a child to be a fair sibling, to be there for others as well. So home is so important. That's where citizens are made. I did this in my clip number 90. This is my clip number 91. Please consider this. Home is the institution that makes future citizens. Future citizens are most at home time-wise. Agreed? So dad and mom, where else can you give your prime energy but to home? If you are giving your prime energy elsewhere, reconsider that decision. Who's going to make citizens? If you don't, the parliament, the court, the corporate, professions, rubbish. You have to make them at home. So you have the responsibility of making future citizen. Home gets it right, nation gets it right. Home and family gets it wrong, nation gets it wrong. I did in clip number 90 the factors that play against family and home. They are saying this COVID is pushing people to postpone marriage, not have children. So those are not good changes. When will COVID end? When will COVID end? I think when you give the simple drug hydroxychloroquine to every symptomatic person, and there's a good case to give hydroxychloroquine to any PCR positive person to reduce the load. In Sri Lanka, we treat the symptomatic with hydroxychloroquine. That's why our death rate is low, but we are not giving it for prevention. No one has made that decision, though I would recommend it. Yes. So then you have the soloist child. So we had the avoider, pleaser, controller, warrior, anchor child. It might be your personality. Then the soloist. Soloist for some reason thought world is safe only by himself. You have to draw that child out. Again, you can't command children like that. They think they'll do best when they're by themselves. In fact, in some areas, they do better when they are soloists. But you have to tell them life is for company. Life is all about company. At the same time, they're empathic, intuitive children. Let them have their alone time with their book or with their music, with their friends' hobbies, activities, things they like to do alone. Let them do it, but draw them into fellowship. Yes. So you need to understand that. But when you're married, you can't be a soloist. You have to share your time. Yes. The last one I'm looking at is supporter. The supporter child is steady and reliable. He also likes to help in different things. You're able to keep you cool when life throws a curveball. Yes. So this is how the world is made on. We have an eighth kind, the chameleon. They don't stick at one nature. Their natures tend to shift. Their temporal lobe is very active. They do deja vu, and deja vu, that is, they recall things from the past, and they do jama vu, they project to the future. So sometimes they are living in the past with the temporal lobe active people. Sometimes they are far out there in fantasy, out in Netherland, nobody's land. So understand the child, root him in practical things. I find playing cricket with my grandson is a great activity. It gives me exercise. Also, with every cricket ball, I can say it are pitched on the leg stump, you should have done an on drive. It are pitched just outside the off stump, you should have gone on your back foot and whacked it through the covers. So cricket is a more coaching experience for a dad to get involved, provided you played cricket. A dad to get involved. And then it's a time for commendation and correction in a non-threatening way. Did you understand that? Commendation and correction in a non-threatening way. I believe it affords more opportunity than just football kicking. I may be wrong, that's how I feel. This is about, I have given you 8 character types. Now let me give you 8 qualities that you can positively develop. 1. This comes from a famous, talk called the Beatitudes. Blessed are the needy. So develop your child to have a sense of, I don't know everything. I need help. You need your siblings' help. You need your dad's help. You need your mom's help. To develop that neediness, attend on your child's need. If you have a child who says, I'm scared, come and be with me near the toilet, do that. Without saying, you shouldn't not be scared like that. What is this? You're a big girl at the age of 8. Don't say things like that. When a child has a need, attend on the need. It is better to have a needy child than a child who doesn't want you. Remember, one day you will need them. One day you will need them. So in their need, attend on them. Secondly, blessed are the meek, for God adds things more to them. Meekness is willing to share space, time, quality, opportunity, chances with others rather than grab everything for yourself. Did you understand that? Meekness is making room for others, giving space and time. Check it yourself, put it into your child. Write this down. Feeling needy is a good thing. Meek is providing space for others. You plan in your daily curriculum how you do this for your son and daughter. And son and daughter, if you are listening, please get it from your dad and mom. What meekness is, making space for others. 3. Blessed are they that mourn sorrow, especially when we do wrong or someone else does wrong. Because you will have that particular thing says comfort, action more than yourself. So quickly helping them to own up, sitting with them in the mistake management, I have told you this before, is the best investment you can do for your child. Catch that moment they are becoming mea culpa. That is the GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, that works in them in their brain. You know, GABA works in the brain to get you that sense of, I have to put this right. I'm sorry, mom. I'm sorry, dad. That thing. So when you take alcohol, every molecule of C2H5OH goes and blocks GABA. So what happens when you take alcohol? Everything you do is right. You drive right, you dance right, anything you do is right. So that's the problem with alcohol. Alcohol, because it blocks the GABA. So watch for that opportunity when the child is need to feel sorrowful, penitent, and is feeling penitent. Handle it like a great treasure. Handle it like, now don't say boys don't cry and things like that. Boys must cry. Men must cry. Learn it from your wife at least. Sorry for saying that. Yes. So blessed are they that mourn, they shall know comfort. That comfort has a particular Greek has a particular verb called paraklesis. You will get help more than you can. Got the word? You will get help more than you can. So for those who believe in God, it has a God quotient, parakletos. Yes. Then fourth quality, blessed are they that hunger and thirst for righteousness, which means put into your son and daughter early concept of right and wrong. Otherwise they'll think what I do is right. So they can't get away with wrongdoing. Dad established the boundaries. When the boundaries are violated, he sits and takes stock. Take half an hour, take 1 hour for mistake management. So I have said this before. The Good Shepherd, Jesus Christ, he took all our errors on a place called on the cross. So it's he took the error. Dad, you take the error. You absorb the error. You absolve and give a redemption. We are redemptionists, I wrote on my timeline. We are not retributionists, waiting to see how wrong the government went and going to town on it. That's not the way. We offer solutions. Imagine a doctor diagnosing the disease and going around town saying that fellow has tuberculosis, that fellow has leprosy, without treating, isn't it? So we must have an attitude to life of being redemptionists, remedy givers, benefactors, and beneficiaries need our beneficence. That's how God made the world. So this thinking about sorrowing, and next thing about being passionate for the right thing, be that, but not with a placard, not on a protest mode, not on your wall and timeline. Find a solution. Be passionate for the right thing and give the remedy. Is that all right? So you have to teach these things to ourselves and to our young ones also. Don't be protesting about causes. Get it right for causes. Get them the right thing. Next one is, blessed are the pure. I have done this before. It's a generation that is into sexual thrills and so on. The cartoons drive them, the dopamine drives them, exhibitionism drives them. Whatever you consume is okay, and sex industry was such a, what shall I say, such a thriving industry. Sad, isn't it? Yeah, so they can get caught to it. What shall I say? Nothing burns as much as a sexual injury. Nothing burns. You need to know this. Because sex and sexual intimacy is so deep, so sensitive, so affecting. My position is with one for lifelong. I believe that's how God made it. So let not your child get injured in experiments. Don't injure yourself either. It's a very difficult to recover injury because it injures deep. Sixth quality, or is it the seventh one? I think the seventh quality. No, it's the sixth quality. Blessed are the merciful, they shall be shown mercy. Very early, show them mercy is better than justice. No, you don't think so? You think justice is better than mercy? It depends on who is at the end, isn't it? When you're a judge, justice is better, that fellow was wrong. When you're caught on the wrong foot, mercy is better. So we are not denigrating justice, but be a mercy dealer. Be a mercy dealer. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. Teach these qualities to children, to be merciful. It's a good time, COVID time. A lot of people are destitute, nothing to eat maybe. Children can be merciful. Then seventh quality is, blessed are the peacemakers. So in every conflict, racist, Tamil single issue, and the things people say against the Muslims, and then in any issue, take the end of peace. Peacemakers get shot from both sides. Peacemakers are mediators. We still remember Neelan Tiruchelvam, isn't it? Or someone, that Catholic father far down in the south who got shot. Yes, peacemakers get shot from both sides, but in any contention, work for peace. Be the middleman, not on this side or that side. Be non-partisan enough to track peace, to make peace between two warring factions. There are so many belligerent people going to war with words or with weapons on the social media or wherever. We need some peacemakers to hold Sri Lanka together. So digital screen really drives violence, really drives rude, reckless. The speech becomes very rude, very sharp. I don't care, who cares, that's the language children often have. I don't care is very common with them. Who cares is very common with them. So we have to build peace into our system. Finally, I'll end with this one. Blessed are they who suffer on the side of wrong. That is the quality we have to develop. We can't always ply a certain right stand and expect bouquets only. Bouquets will eventually come, but brickbats may come before the bouquets. So when you are convinced of the right cause, you will need to suffer for it. Greatest example is Jesus Christ, of course, who suffered for what he knew was right. He extended his hands and said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. So remember, there's a cost for the things we believe. Check it out that our belief is right, and suffering for the right thing till the truth triumphs is a course in life. It's a curriculum. It was there for Marie Curie. It was there for the chap who developed the smallpox vaccine, Louis Pasteur, isn't it? Yes, it was there for him. And in the ancient past or recent time, suffering for the right thing will win the day. Hold on with it. Hold on with it. A majority is not necessarily right. They might be often wrong. So these are few things to inculcate for ourselves and for our kids. Thank you for listening. We'll meet again sometime.